Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Coming to you today just to talk a little bit about prison. Talk to you a little bit about prison.
Yes, on board.
Yeah, so discuss. This is for the youth out there today. Just come to them and try to give them a little knowledge, wisdom and knowledge, about prison.
And experience.
Definitely experience.
Okay, because I'm going to ask you some questions about your experiences, because people think that they can be out here and, have violence in their hearts and in their mind, because that's where it starts at, when you feel like you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
When we go out exercising on our bicycle, we keep all that knife with us for the dogs, because sometimes the dogs come after us, because people don't know how to keep their dogs under control. So not that God is not protecting us, because we know He is. We know that God is protecting us, but
yeah, He is.
but we still have our little knife in our bag when we go out walking, because, child, you gonna never know. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But
I just want to interview you today about prison and violence and like the life that you lived, coming up, because you didn't have any guidance. Your mother had passed before you. What? How old were you?
I was 9.
You was 9 years old when your mother passed away. So you grew up with your aunt, right, raising you guys.
Yeah, with my aunt and her kids also. Kind of like supposed to be role models, but yeah, it was a journey from back then.
So how did you get involved in like street life and being involved with the wrong people in the wrong crowd? Do you feel like that was something that was in you that made you follow that way, or do you feel like that you was just misguided into the wrong direction?
Well, basically it was just me just hanging out with the wrong people. I'm gonna say that, just hanging out with the wrong people. Not necessarily that's the way that I was led, but just hanging out with the wrong people,
Being easily influenced.
Yeah, easily influenced, and and looking for something that I thought I was missing, and that was love, and so somehow or another along the way, I got into hanging out in the streets, and from then it led to doing all kinds of things that I never thought I would do, like jacking people, robbing people, crazy things, beating people up for no reason.
Because you was angry.
Because
you had a lot of anger.
I had a lot of anger.
You figured out later on in life that you had a lot of anger and resentment in you for, your parents not being there. So that was your driving motivation for, your violent mindset.
Yeah.
That was a reason behind it, right?
Yeah, it definitely was. That was the reason. But the main reason was that what I found out later on in my life, when I got about like 35 or 36, something like that, was because of the anger, because of the hurt, because my mom wasn't there, so it was just like, something was missing. She was not here, and I didn't realize that I was carrying it with me for such a long time. The fact that she was not here, and I was missing her, and I wonder why she wasn't here. So I carried that with me for a long time.
Okay, so let's get to the prison part of it. Like your first time you got in trouble, and your first time that you went to prison, thinking you was bad out in the streets, and getting a hold of a weapon, a gun, but getting in trouble because of you was with others that had weapons. Not necessarily you using a weapon, but you still was guilty by association. So how was that? How did that change you that first time when you thought you was bad until you got to the prison system? Okay, how did that change you? In what ways did that change you or change your mind? And what are some of the things that you had to do in prison? To try to protect yourself from people who was really bad and evil and wicked.
Yeah, well, let me see. Well, like I said, I always thought that I needed to fight. I wanted to fight, because of the hurt and the anger that I was carrying inside of me. So I was always ready to fight somebody, to beat somebody up. But thinking that I was bad. That's exactly what I thought until I went to jail. Right. So when I went to jail, jail is a little bit different. I got into a couple of little fights in jail, but it wasn't like prison. So from jail to prison, it's totally different. So even when I left jail and I went to prison farm, that was like, it's like I was still free because I was still able to, see people. We was able to go out, go to the city, go to the town. It's like we were still free. There was no fence around.
Wasn't any discipline.
So it wasn't no discipline, but I remember one thing when I first got there. I remember the captain of that farm. He said, like, if anybody give him any trouble around here, he gonna send them straight to Angola, And so I was like, I didn't even realize where Angola was, So I was like, okay. And I was 21, 20.
Angola, right? Angola prison in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Angola, like somewhere over there by New Orleans.
Systems. Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, I was still young, like, okay, I heard what he said, but it didn't really like register at the time. So after being there for like almost a year and a half, just basically just still being wild, like buck wild, like no discipline. And the Lord knew I needed discipline, so he knew he had to get me off of that farm, because even on that farm, I was still like, basically, if I didn't want to go to work, I would not go,
Still doing what you want to do.
Still doing what I wanted to do, and knowing the consequences for what I was doing. Not only that, I knew from if I didn't want to go to work and if I did get in trouble, like my foreman, I knew he would get me out of trouble, like get me out of the hole that they would put me in. So that was kind of like one of the things that kind of urged on what I was doing also. So finally, like maybe in the second year, after I got in trouble one more time, the captain said, he reminded me of what he said from the beginning. Like, so at first they send us to like a detention center. Right. And so whatever you do in life, if it follows you all the way from the first time I went to jail, it followed me.
So when you got to prison,
I was at the prison farm. I wasn't.
Okay, no. When you was at the prison farm, okay, you still had it easy and you still could make decisions and do what you want to do. You still didn't have the discipline to didn't have the kind of authority over you to make you do what they said. So let's fast forward to the prison. When you got to the prison, what happened in you?
Well, the prison it was totally different. And when I first got to the prison, like I think I was maybe 22 then, I think. And then I remember talking to the warden, right? So everybody that when you first go there, you got to talk to the warden. And depending on how old you are, how young you are, how big or small you are, the captain told me, said, normally I would send young guys to cell blocks. He said, because you're a big guy, he said, you look like you can protect yourself. So I'm going to send you down to the population.
But you wasn't big when you went to jail, though.
I wasn't big when I went to jail, but after I had been in there, I started getting big.
You knew you had to get big because of what?
I mean, it wasn't that I knew that I had to get big. It was that I guess kind of like, I kind of had something to do while I was in there. And doing push-ups was the thing to do. So we used to do so many push-ups. So that's how I started getting my weight up, as they say.
Okay.
But once I got to the prison, it was like, man, like this is another whole world.
Yeah. So what happened? Like when you started really meeting the hardcore criminals?
Yeah, when I got in there and I realized, they had like some criminals in there, like people in there that was like, it was never ever going home. They had like 2 life sentences, 3 life sentences, 600 years, 900 years. And so here I am thinking I'm just a little kid in here. I think I might have had 8 years, maybe like 3 and 5, like ran together, something like that. But here I am, a young kid in here with all these hardcore. Now that's when I realized that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. Because now I'm around some people that really don't care.
Yeah.
So these people, they know they ain't going home. They're not going home.
So they don't have anything to lose.
They don't have nothing to lose. So now I'm like, man, is this what I want?
Yeah, it makes you think.
So this is what I want, So, yeah, I had my challenges while I was in there. Like, one time I know God, he was always with me. He was always with me. Like, this one time, man, it was crazy. Like, I had these 2 guys from New Orleans, they wanted to challenge me and this other guy. doing their job, and I told the guy that I wasn't gonna do it, right? So I told the other guy that was with me, I said, if you want to go help them, you can, but I'm not gonna do it. It kind of like escalated, and the guys got, hot and, started talking stuff trash to me. So, I know me, so I was like, you know what, hey, I said something to them that let them know that I was ready to do whatever I had to do, and they knew that, but after that, it was like, I really didn't have any problems out of anybody because I was such a big guy, and I did stay to myself, I didn't have any problem with people. If prison is bad,
because the Lord thine God was with you, and the favor of God was over you. That's what I do believe.
Yeah,
from the experience.
Yeah,
that you had.
his favor was always over me, but through it, I realized like, hey, there's got some guys in here that are really bad. Like I said, I thought I was bad, but I really wasn't bad. I was just I would say misguided. Was just following the wrong crowd at that time, but I had to go there. When I got to Angola, that's when I got the discipline that I really needed, because he allowed me to see guys that really didn't care, like they didn't have nothing to lose.
So what advice would you give to these young guys out here, gangster, want to be gangsters, gun toting on the holster on the side, permit to carry their weapons, okay? What advice do you have for them? I don't understand it, and I don't understand why people feel like they need that, because I know the power of the Most High God, and I know that we are protected, because we've been in too many situations to where the angels showed themselves in the situations that we was in, when the enemy was trying to kill us. I remember the angels, picking the car up and pushing the car forward a couple feet when the schizophrenic man was coming at us at over 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I remember the protection of God and the angels being there all along the way. So I never look to guns for anything, but we grew up with my mama, get the gat, it's all we heard, every time we turn around, get the gat, get the gun,
Yeah.
That's what they always turn to when they angry, but they don't know the ramifications of when they shoot somebody, or when they hurt somebody, or like the word of God says, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If that's the life that you want to live, then that's what's going to come back to haunt you in the long run. So, because you out here thinking that you can protect yourself. So what advice do you have to give to these people out here with these guns?
Yeah, like I said, I never owned a gun. I never needed a gun. But the one time that I did have a gun in my possession
Did you feel like you needed one?
I never needed a gun. I never felt like I needed a gun. I never had one. But the one time I had one in my possession is when I got in trouble. So my advice is, all it takes is one time, right? And before you know it, your life could be over. Because there was some guys in there that got in trouble for the first time, the first offense, and they ended up in prison. So it doesn't, just because you haven't been in trouble before in your life, it doesn't mean
trouble coming when you live by the sword. He say that in his word.
It will, and it doesn't mean that you won't end up in the system, because you will, and it won't take long. So the best advice that I can give anyone, that's out there with these guns, guns are not the answer. Violence is not the answer. But what we need more than anything else, we need to have God in our life, because He's our protector. And you want to be bad, pretend that you're bad. Like I said, there's a place for people that think that they are really bad.
Because I really don't understand it, because if you have a temper and you ready to get into it with somebody because that's what you need a gun for, so you ready to kill, and God say thou shalt not kill, so you ready to kill somebody, you ready to hurt somebody, you ready to be hurt, you ready for your family to be hurt, because any situation that arises that's escalated by, it can be escalated by the way you respond to it.
Yeah.
So why not respond in a kind and humble manner and de-escalate the situation, rather than walking around with guns and thinking you bad, and then the situation get escalated and you end up in prison for life. If you hurt somebody, or getting time, or your wife or your child or somebody end up getting murdered, because that's what's going on in the world.
That's what's going on.
So you know, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand the how you can make a decision in your life to go that route.
Yeah, well, like I say, basically people don't know like the seriousness of what they're doing. Like you gotta like, it's not like you say, oh, I'm gonna take my gun with me before I go out. Because if you take your gun out with you, that means you're looking for trouble. You know, you're expecting trouble.
You're expecting trouble.
So when the trouble comes and you got your gun, and then there you go.
Yeah, because
something bad happens.
The word of God says it's better for you to die than for you to kill anybody or hurt anybody or maim anybody, you know. And God is looking down at us, you know, and He looking at us like, what do you need a gun for? Like, who you think you are? What are you gonna do with it? Because you know the word of God is our sword. It's our weapon against everything, you know. So would you ever allow your kids to have guns?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because I know, like, I've seen like too many things happen, like incidents when kids, you know, and guns and stuff like that. So I definitely would not allow my kids to have guns. Definitely not.
So, you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, you know. And that's the message that I wanted to just bring today. You know, a simple message. You know, because a simple message can go a long way, you know, and it's just time for us to start changing our minds about some things and to put some things away and to come away from some things, you know, and live in peace and live in safety with your family and do what's right before God, you know, because the stuff you think you need, you don't need that stuff.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, what are your closing words?
So the best advice, once again, is to, you know, seek knowledge before vengeance. Seek knowledge before vengeance.
Yes, Lord.
You know, seek knowledge before vengeance, you know, and always trust God more than anything else, you know, because it doesn't take long for your life to change.
Yes.
You know, from good to bad or from bad to good. But it definitely doesn't take long for it to turn bad for the worse.
And God is always with us, no matter what. You know, His protection is over us. So stop walking around being afraid, because that's why you got a gun, because you're scared of something.
Yeah, if you're afraid, then that's when you really need to go call on the Lord's name.
That's right, because He didn't give us a spirit of fear, right? But a power, love, and a sound mind.
Power, love, and a sound mind.
So
we just want to come out and, you know, give you all this message, you know, talk to you a little bit about prison, you know, gun violence.
Prison ain't nowhere you want to be.
Nowhere you want to end up
in the
so
system,
you know where you want
and
to
in
find
handcuffs, and in the back of a police car, your family getting hurt because you out there trying to be a gangster.
Yeah, so some people get second chances, you know, and hey, you may not get a second chance.
Amen.
So y'all just, you know, hope y'all get something out of this video, and take heed to what we're saying. God bless everyone.